Cancer, the moon is in Leo, and she wants you to look at the progress that you've made so far and really be proud of yourself and that you've had the courage to progress this far. And if you're feeling down, this can be a great energy to tend to that inner child and bring some joy back into your journey. Stay tuned to figure out how to work with these energies. This is a really lovely moon, Cancer. But before we jump into that, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes and shares. Your support really is just so loving, Cancer, so uplifting, and it keeps us growing. Lights up my Leo placements. And for those of you who are new, welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and I just know that whenever you come across this video, you're in sync with the moon, and she loves that. I think that's, I've been trying to figure out what was going to be the new catchphrase for that, and I like that. I think that's going to stick. Just a little behind the scenes for you. But for those of you who are also, for those of you who are new, this is a channel for those of you who have Cancer in your placement. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, your mid-heaven, wherever, Cancer. Yeah, I'm with it. This one's for you. And I do tarot cards based upon ruler here, the good old moon. This is Rhonda, and I'm really bringing the energy today. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, when she's going void, of course, just all of those lunar shenanigans. I actually had a revelation, Cancer. That's why I'm actually feeling really pumped. When I'm recording this, the moon is in Cancer. Normally, this is kind of a somber time, but I'm feeling great. And last little thing, just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one, so take what resonates with you. Leave the rest with me. Never force a reading on a situation, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Now, let's jump into it. I'm so excited to see you, Cancer. And also, your space has been cleansed. Crystals. Feeling lovely. Actually, just cleansed this one. This one's been sidebar. This is like one of my first ones that I got. Let's see. Crystals have come and gone, but this bad boy stayed with, great guy. It stayed with me for a long time. It's seen me through ups and downs, but they're feeling lovely. But yeah, just great angel around here, Cancer. And Cancer, I love how this energy is kind of lining up here, because happy Sunday. Sundays are associated with, I'll give you a guess, the sun. And this is a great day for really kind of looking after your health there. This could be great for that, great for promotions. This could be if you're wanting to work with the sun hour more specifically, because, Sundays, because this could be a great day to take care of your health. But I don't think doctors are usually seeing people on Sundays, which, that might be something to revisit. But this can be a great day for tending to your health, just making sure, seeing how your diet's going, seeing how you're feeling, are you moving the body, just how you're associating with yourself, how am I feeling. But this can also be too during sun hours. This can be great for looking into booking appointments for your doctors. This could be a great time for asking for promotions. This could be a great time for you talking with your boss about a raise when you're looking into the hours of the sun, because now you're in a place where you're just shining bright. And especially see where the sun is at right now. That's going to be a big factor with that, to see how your relationship, even in your chart with the sun. Actually, the sun is, if you're a Leo rising like myself, the sun is the chart ruler of your sign. So that just means that pay attention to what the sun is doing, on top of, where my sun sign is in Cancer. So of course I'm paying attention to the moon. The sun is another important factor, especially with myself. I have 5 stacks of Leo. So yeah, I'm keeping eyes on the sun always. Luckily he's not too busy. But yeah, that's just something to think about. But it can also be some ways to work with this energy. It can really be cool. So play around with that, Cancer. But also, this is a really kind of auspicious timing for the moon, because with the moon entering into Leo, the dispositor of that moon is the sun. So that's fantastic. But depending on when you're watching this, let's get into this thing. The moon is going to be entering into Leo at about 12:28 p.m. and that will be Pacific time, and she's still in a waxing crescent phase, and that's when the energy is just starting to build up. You're starting to see your seeds grow. When you're thinking about from where the new moon was at, this is where the energies are forming a sextile with one another. And that's when the energies are 60 degrees apart. and where it's a softer energy, but it can be when where opportunities start to rise up, where you start seeing, like in the metaphor, it's like your garden. It's like where you can first start seeing some sprouts, seeing things grow. And when you're thinking on a larger scale, this new moon lunar cycle is in the sextile position from when we started from the Aries cycle this year, the first lunar cycle that started this thing off. So we're in a pretty, we're in a waxing energy all around here in this phase. So, and the waxing phases are really great for just like when you're starting to see results, building up that self-confidence, like, okay, this thing is worth it. Okay, like now we're starting to build up. And if we're not seeing anything come to fruition, this is still a time to being patient, showing compassion, like, this, we're still kind of getting some things tended to. So, but I like this energy when it's happening in Leo, because the moon in Leo in general, I feel, is a great time to bring some joy back into, because after we're in, like, the water energy of Cancer, that can be a very emotional time. We're getting into our feelings. We're getting to that subjective space. We've been kind of home. We've been cozy. But now Leo invites us to have that courage to get out and about, to shine bright again, if you had a time where you were going through some, like maybe some deeper emotions, this can be a time to just get out there and just to introduce a little bit of joy, especially if you've been kind of going through something real time, just finding the joy in even the small things. Let's say if you've been going through a funk and you haven't really had much of an appetite, finding something where we're just having an appreciation for that. Like, man, this toast is good. I love you, toast. Just something. And then like coming with a playful attitude, which I know it's not always easy, when life is lifing, but the moon, I feel, in Leo, just it gives us a chance to shine a light on that inner child, to let them know that even when they're hurting, like, that sometimes I'm just picturing, like, when a kid's maybe scraped their arm or leg, or maybe had a tough day at school or something. And if you can find a way to make them laugh, even if they're still not feeling great in that moment, it's a reminder that, right, this is temporary. What I'm going through will eventually pass. And that can just be a nice little breather, even if it doesn't fix things in the long haul, just like taking these momentary victories to find some more strength, to find some more courage to carry on, to still be the leader in your life. Because Leo is a great leadership energy as well. And it can be a reminder. You could be an inspiration for others, where, if you've been going through a tough time, you're still showing up each day. And we're not forcing ourselves, you're still showing up, doing your best, doing the best that we can. It all comes back with Leo. There's this finding this enthusiasm for life, still trying to keep this love for the journey. Because Leo is one that, but that's just, I feel like, just one way to really kind of, I feel, effectively work with this moon in Leo energy. And just think back to when I was talking about that inner child, what were some ways that when you were feeling upset, how would you self-soothe? Would you go into your imagination? Maybe you're creating something. This could be buy yourself some action figures if that was your jam. I used to play with a lot of action figures and like Bionicles and things for a while, always creating these wild scenarios. So that was always that might be even something to look back into. But maybe you like to color, maybe you were one that did some writing, maybe you just like being outside, just kind of staring out, just go. I feel like that can be a very healing way of working with this energy too. But thank you, higher self. That's just some thoughts that I have for the moon in Leo. Because I know that, because I had even been, for example, I had been noticing that, especially when my lunar returns would come around, it was just like, why have they been so intense here? I feel like as of late, and it's because Pluto's retrograding. I was thinking about, like, when you're looking at the lunar return and any sort of return chart, you're seeing the aspects that are forming with that main body. And Pluto's going to be talking with my moon placement at least for another probably year and a half, 2 years. And granted, it's a trine, but it's still Pluto. So it's one of those where there's energies moving there. Sometimes they're intense when it's starting off, but then around, like, just this go around, like, having a bit of a struggle at first when my lunar return started off. Is happening in the second house. So this is thinking about finances, which has been kind of on my mind here as of late, and thinking about self-worth and what I value, where do I want to invest in, things that, second house themes. And this has got me thinking where Pluto was at, forming this trine. He's in the 11th house, right? I'm looking at my chart right now, and he's looking at the 11th house, and I've been thinking a lot about networking, how this is going to apply my future, and if I'm steering towards my future, how that would increase my self-worth. And so that's been in big papa's in conjunction with my moon right now. The conjunction's starting to wane, but it's one of those where once I got some deeper understanding, and I just hadn't thought about Pluto. I've been in this transit for a while, and it just hadn't dawned on me. But I'm just like, oh, maybe these hits are getting a little more louder just because I'm syncing up a lot more. We've been forming this, and I'm getting ready to be in where my solar return's going. I'm going to be in a lot of lunar energy. So I'm just saying, like, even though we've had I've been in these tougher energies, usually around the time when the moon is in Leo, it just kind of like the energies just sort of dissipate. Even sort of every sort of heaviness just kind of dissolves, and it's just like, oh. And this may be harder if you happen to have like your moon, if this is a moon in Leo, you may have a harder time if your moon's maybe in like Scorpio or in Taurus, because that's forming a square. If it's in Aquarius, that's forming an opposition. There may be something you have to take a little bit more action for it, as opposed to when the moon's in Leo. For me, this is a bunch of conjunctions that are happening in my Leo placements, and it's happening in my first house. So it's like putting myself out there, bringing it big. So this can be where, and this is something too, and I'm going to get into the void of course energy next, but if you're curious about how these energies are working with you in your chart and wanting to get more familiar with this stuff, syncing up with the moon cycles, understanding the landscape, and just like it's nice to just really kind of have that peace of mind that like, oh, I'm not just worrying because of this stuff, just because this is where energetically I'm lining up right now. What would be a focus to kind of help me, how do I fix, because when you think about the moon, just for example, if we're going over lunar return charts, the moon can deal with your daily habits. And so where I'm thinking about second house things right now, what are some things that I could do to bring into myself? And I've been some things I've been valuing are just more of my times for just kind of like more me time. So I've been stepping away from technology, seeing where things have been kind of eating up my energy a little bit, where I haven't been feeling good, and then channeling it into more of the things that I do value. And that has been fueling up my moon placement. It's been getting me in a more of a stronger, sturdier mindset to tackle some more things, to build some stuff. That's also getting into second house types of things. So that's just an example of how you can work with this stuff. But if you're curious about wanting to work with that more personally, our solar return is going to be coming up here soon, Cancer. So I think I'm going to do something for it. I'm still getting that all figured out, but I think I'm going to try to have some sort of like little discount thing that I want to do for the different signs when we're getting into the birthday season. So, or even do just like a reading. And that's something, maybe that's something you want to do. I can do that on my other channel, where if you want to have I'll just pick maybe just some random solar return charts, maybe just do like a little lottery, then maybe each week for the Cancer season, I'll do a solar return chart. So if that's something that you're interested in, please let me know down in the description box, and I will figure out how to get that stuff to happen, because I would love to go over that stuff. It can give you a real great perspective of what's coming up. Now, before we get into the reading, the last energy I want to talk about is the void of course. And this is going to be happening on Mars Day, which is a Tuesday. That'll be the 11th of June. It'll be happening, and this is going to be a lengthy one. It's going to be from 12:16 p.m. till 10:38 p.m. And so when we're thinking about the void of course, this is a time when the moon forms her final aspect with the celestial body, and then she's just roaming the void. I like to think of it as when the final chapter of her time in Leo, is starting to become a memory, and we're starting to reflect on what we took from that chapter and how that applied to the grander scheme, how that's shaping your intention for this lunar cycle, which in turn is setting a new 6-month cycle. This is just this is the new moon in Gemini, and we'll see how what you started off. It takes 30 days. They say like 30 days for a habit to build up, which is why we're working with the lunar cycles. But then we'll be looking back, when we go to the full moon in Gemini in 6 months. That'll be a time to look back at this time. So setting these intentions during the new moons can be very great progress trackers as far as like where we've been growing over this time. And you start to get into that rhythm. I'm picturing this clock and just syncing up with the moon, Cancer. So, but the void, of course, is a time where there is no energy. The moon's had her final conversation, so there's nothing going on. So usually this is especially with how long this would be a great time to wrap up any projects that we've started. Not really a great time to initiate things. It's not that you can't, but it's just little trickier, when we're getting into that. So maybe the inspiration behind it may not be there like it would normally be if we had some fresher energies when the moon's having conversations. So something to pay attention to. Now, and the trickiness with this void, of course, is that usually the aspect of the final aspect that she forms with the celestial body flavors that void, of course, period of time. And she's going to be forming a square with Uranus. And squares are when the planets are 90 degrees apart. And that's where you start to feel tension, where we start to see challenges, delays. It's a tougher aspect, but I like to think of the squares as opportunities for action, whether that be taking some sort of action or pulling back from something, taking the action of inaction. That's where I feel like how squares, I feel you can productively work with them. But when we're thinking about the moon forming aspects with planets, this is where we're seeing how your feelings and intentions are being drawn to that planetary body. So this could be where maybe some shocking emotions, because we're talking about Uranus, where maybe some shocking emotions may come up for you. Maybe someone delivers some shocking news, like maybe and it doesn't have to be anything like life, like anything of death. This could be like where someone tells you that, they're having a baby, or maybe they're getting a car, or maybe they're moving, or maybe they're wanting to go back to school, and you're just like, what do you mean? Or did you hear about such and such? They started this, they got married, moved to across the country, or they jumped in a motorhome and blah, 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 like those types of things. So, and just pay attention to any sort of like emotions that maybe catch you off guard. I would feel like that would be a constructive way of working with this void, of course, seeing what comes up for you. But I would also say with this, be mindful of, from you and from others, of forcing what you believe onto other people. Because when this square that's happening, this is between fixed energies. Uranus is in Taurus and the moon is in Leo when this is happening. So where the moon is strong in Taurus, Uranus has a tough time understanding Leo, considering that it's the opposite sign. This is where Uranus would be in detriment. But yeah, I just feel like, be mindful of any sort of like arguments as far as like, because those ultimately, especially during the void, of course, they lead to nothing other than just kind of sour moods and just kind of taints the joy, I feel. So that's something I feel to pay attention to as well. If someone's trying to force an opinion, or you're noticing that there's this clash here, I feel there's a better just agree to disagree. So just something to pay attention to there, Cancer. Now, last thought here before we jump into the reading. These readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations there, Cancer. But let's go ahead and get into your general energy of the day, Cancer, and I'm with it. You got the magical power card here, Cancer. And with this, I like that this is popping up in the waxing crescent with Leo, because when you think about Leo too, you go to that creative side of Leo as well. And I think about I think of them as a creative sign because Leo is associated with children. And when you think about children, children have such vivid imaginations. When you're a child, before you've gotten you get the programming and the putting in the box and trying to pigeonhole. You can do whatever you want. The sky, there is no limit. The sky is just a means to paint your vast picture that you have for yourself. And there's a lot of magic in that when you think about a child's imagination and the powers that they can have, and how we always have access to that. But I feel the moon in Leo especially helps us get back in touch with that magical power, with that inner child magic, that creative side of you. But with Leo, there's a courage that has to come with that in order to allow that to shine. Because when Leo on a lower expression doesn't shine, it sulks. It's really just kind of sad to watch that not be able to shine as bright as they're meant to, because they've this could be, I'm thinking, where maybe we're looking for approval, or there's this you feel like you want to do one thing, but you've been cast inside another role, and if you step outside into this role that you want to, that people may not love you as much. Leo can be where it's seen as such a happy sign. It's one where you do get people get used to you playing a certain part. With me having as much Leo as I do, and this is not just the people that do it, it's the Leos that do it too, where you do want to be loved. You do want to bring the joy, because you can do it so naturally. But there are some times where you don't want to get into that, and that becomes a whole thing. But I feel that this is a time to see where maybe there was some unconscious programming, maybe some pressures on yourself, or maybe this is pressures from others that may have been getting in the way of you really kind of tapping into your magical power. And I feel Leo is that Leo gets looked at as a leader, I feel, because they lead with their heart, because they they allow their inner child to lead them, to tap into that creative space. Their Leo energy can be great storytellers. They can light up a room. I'm thinking about, there's my stepfather's a Leo. He's a joy. And I think about all the people that have Leo. I was staying with a family, and the mom, her son's in Leo. I mean, she's just a light bulb. I mean, she's was a great study case for how Leo energy works when the sun moves. Man, you talk about someone who's in sync with the sun. But what I feel this energy is wanting you to look at where you may have been denying yourself your gifts, because Leo is the thing too. I feel like why Leo may not shine as bright, or where it may miss something, is that they assume that everyone can do it. Like, I'm thinking, for example, my stepfather is an amazing artist. Like, he can draw, and it actually doesn't make sense. When you meet him, it doesn't make sense. But he has this incredible gift. And sometimes I feel with Leo, and what may happen sometimes, is that if that gift isn't fostered, then it just becomes a thing that they're just sort of good at, and it just never gets explored like it could. So I feel like you have something that you've been wanting to explore again, because that side never dies. The inner child is always with you. That magical gift is always within you. But what Leo is here to learn is that Virgo energy, the next sign after them, is to take that gift and not just doing it for them, but doing it in a way that fills their cup and fills others as well, where they can be a service to. So the beautiful thing that happens when we get into this Leo, and what gifts we can unlock. But let's get some tarot here, Cancer, and get into this. And even just this thinking collectively, when we're with Pluto being in Aquarius right now, and we're going to be in Aquarius, it's really kind of settling in towards the end of this year and not going back into Capricorn. Us coming into our magical powers and coming into our gifts, and whatever that means, leading with your heart, creating from this place of just incorporating more joy into your day-to-day. That's going to if we do that as individuals and don't really care about what people think about, absolutely more options open up, but don't care about what other people necessarily think about how we express our gifts, but just still shining this light, bringing this high vibration. You showing your courage inspires other people to show their courage, and then everybody's becoming a leader. Then we're all being leaders in the capacity that we all understand, because leadership looks differently on everyone. Leadership is not just the person standing on the podium, the person who's in charge. It can just be who's bringing that skill for this specific thing. But all right, Cancer. Herself. Let's see what's going on here. All right. So you have, speaking of Aquarius, you have the Star card in reverse, and then you have the Three of Coins, the Four of Cups, the Seven of Cups, and then the Knight of Wands here. And the Knight of Wands is Leo energy for me. Now, with the Knight of Wands, you talk about someone who's going with magical power. This is going with passion. This is finding the thing that I feel motivates you. When we're thinking about the Knights, it's the thing that you want, that gives you, that just fuels your drive here. And I feel with the Seven of Coins being here, when we're not sure what it is that we want to do. Again, this is where we listen with our heart, where we really listen to our emotions, because the Seven of Cups, this is Venus in Cancer, and that's a very receptive energy, very receptive to the parts of ourselves that maybe we've been repressing, the sides of us that that even though we may have certain fears or something along those lines, it's like knowing that we can work it out here with the Three of Coins. And this can be something where if you're not sure where you're wanting to go, like you have this gift, you have this idea. The Three of Coins is a card of collaboration. This can be a card where you're talking, spitballing with some people. We're in a lot of Gemini energy right now, talking about these types of things. You never know what sort of ideas coming up. Mercury's really kind of cruising. We have, like, depending on when you're watching this, we have about another a little under a week, I think, before Mercury and Venus move into Cancer. And I just feel like with this Mercury energy right now, it's kind of, and Venus being in Gemini, this can be one where just a time of talking through some ideas can really help you get things moving. But I feel like it can be something where pursuing these endeavors, this doesn't have to be this thing that we're pursuing. Let's say maybe you used to play guitar and you just want to dust that off. This, I mean, honestly, it could just be just practicing some chords, just making some time for this thing, however your schedule allows this. I feel like this could even do some healing work, or bring some healing with the Star card, some things that we may have. And I almost feel like this could even restore some hope, because the Star card can be a card of hope, and maybe you've been feeling this, not been feeling this inspiration possibly here. Maybe with the Four of Cups being here, we've been maybe looking for a sign, but the Four of Cups almost can give this apathetic, or just not feeling satisfied with life, not feeling like the universe has given you the things that you necessarily wanted. And let me get a little bit more on this Four of Cups here before we move on with that, Cancer. Okay. Get herself. All right, so interesting. So the Four of Cups is clarified by the Ten of Wands in reverse, and then you have the Ace of Swords upright here, Cancer. And I feel with this that I almost feel like for some, there's a reason for not maybe starting up something, because maybe the idea of working it in, I don't know, it's like maybe we can't find a way for it to not be burdensome in a way. Like it's just like maybe there's just too many things that you have in there. Like sure you want to take time to practice. Again, we're just using the guitar thing as an example, but maybe you're just wanting to do that. But how can I incorporate this when I have, you know, 3 kids to take care of, 2 jobs, a spouse, or maybe no spouse, and just I'm just doing this all on myself, and I gotta sleep, I gotta eat, I got to, you know, and doing all the things. And I feel that there is a way for getting when things feel like a hurricane like that. We can, I feel like almost we can tell ourselves like we don't care about this thing, we don't deny this stuff. And I almost feel like that it's almost, I'm almost picturing like when you kind of deny those inner needs for yourself, the side of you just like, hey, I just want to take a break to just play, to just create, to kind of relieve some of the stressor so that we can come to our problems with a fresh mind. I'm almost getting like the image of when a parent tells a child like, no, I don't have time for you, no, I have work to do, I have this, I have that. But this is you as an adult kind of talking with your inner child like that. And it's like, you know, that side of you that's needing to kind of, I almost feel like release a bit, that needs to just kind of be with yourself. It's not burdensome, you know, like that's, I hope that that makes sense, Cancer. That's what I'm kind of getting with this. And even if you can incorporate just a couple minutes, even a day, that can even do something, or not a day, but even a week. I feel some time is better than no time. You know, maybe you've been wanting to make more time for exercise. If you can find 5 minutes to do maybe just just a warm up, even just like, okay, we're gonna do some jumping jacks, we're gonna do some jogging in place, we don't have to work up a crazy sweat. Maybe we don't got time for that, but just something here. I feel like to get the energies flowing again, to get you where you're getting just in the flow, tapping. I'm getting magician energy with this magical power too, but. And one more thing, Cancer. I'm getting with this Ten of Wands, Ace of Swords here. It almost feels like because the Four of Cups is a very tricky card. You know, we sometimes it's like we get into a place where we may not feel like something may like feel like a burden in the moment because you may not be feeling like it, but after you do it, it actually alleviates more than you would think. Like I know sometimes like when I personally feel down, like I think like, do I actually want to do a reading? Am I in the, and there's some days where I'm just not in the energetic space, but when I know that I have like one that I want to get out by a certain time, you know, keep syncing up, staying up on top with the moon, I sit there and like, you know, I always usually feel great after I do the reading. Let me get into my space, gather myself, and afterwards I always feel great. So let's get some more on this, Cancer. Oh, okay. Thank you, yourself. Oh, interesting, Cancer. We all out here. Oh, we don't got too much. So you have that's very interesting. So you have the Ace of Swords, the Hermit, and the Upright. That's it. And then you have the Temperance card, the King of Swords, and the Seven of Swords in reverse. And the Temperance is Sagittarius, and the Hermit card is Virgo energy. Now, with this, so I feel here too, Cancer, with Ace of Swords popping. I'm glad that I started using different decks for clarifiers because they can bring this different emphasis. It was just something that just kind of had dawned on me. I'm not sure what that intuitive hit, but I feel that there's this. The Ace of Swords is giving that there's this idea, Cancer, for some, that there's something that is calling. With the Hermit being here, it's like I'm getting like the sun is starting to rise here, Cancer. Like this is Because after our energy, when we're in that subjective space, we're in that imaginative, creative space of Cancer, that emotional energy, we're receiving stuff. And then Leo is taking that time and just like putting it, I don't know, it's like it's putting this something out on display here, taking the idea and giving it some like life, something that you may have been meditating on for a while here. But I almost feel with the Temperance card, it's maybe it's like you have some sort of idea, but maybe we're not sure. I'm getting more of the Sag energy where it's like trying to find the bigger picture, really kind of seeing something is just not quite clear here. Something's not clicking with the King of Swords, and I feel like it's almost like we may be telling ourselves that maybe you can't do something, or that maybe we're not able to. It's like maybe there are so many even different options here with the Seven of Cups. It's just like, let me get a little bit more with the Temperance card here, Cancer. Why is the Temperance here? Because it's like almost something's gotten out of balance where we've been maybe too much in the Hermit energy and a needing to get outside of something in order to get some. It's like you can be a student and you can it's one thing to read about surgery, but in order to really get it into play, you can know everything, but if you've never done it, it doesn't matter. It's just kind of information, and that's the tricky thing with Gemini. It's something where if you can find yourself doing a lot and getting nothing done. So that's what I'm kind of feeling with this Temperance card. Okay, so let's see what's going on with this. Oh, what's good, girl? The Temperance card is clarified by the Empress here, Cancer. And I feel with the Empress being here, look at how she's holding this flower. It's like something is ready. You have something to give here. I feel that this Seven of Swords here too is giving me this vibe of no one can do something the way that you do. It's like you may have an idea and you think that someone is already doing this, but again, no one can do this. No one can do you, Cancer. Even when you look at Cancer energy, there's. I was thinking when I was talking about that place I was just living at. Happened to be two of us just happen to have our sun signs in Cancer, and we're very different. Sure, both our suns in Cancer, but they have a Pisces moon, they have a Sag rising, so we share fire risings, but then they have their Mercury, Venus, and Mercury and Venus are in water signs, so they're very water heavy, whereas I am very fire heavy, and it shows. We are two very distinct people. The person over there is just they felt some kind of way about Cancer. They were like, gosh, you're so. The one was of course, more sensitive and more in tune, and I was always would get on them about that. But it's just we would display it so differently, and that's where I feel like there's this Empress here. It's just you have something to share. It's you have some sort of abundance here, and it's time to share that. It's maybe we've been on this sort of, I don't necessarily want to say receiving end of things, but it's you've inherited these gifts, and it's just they've just been accumulated here, but they need an outlet. They need something. It's just been kind of trapped, and it's needing some sort of outlet, some sort of release. It's I'm picturing turning on a faucet here, but that's fascinating, Cancer. Let's get some advice from the Sun. And Cancer, I do feel like this could be with this. If there's something that you're wanting to learn, this is a really great time to, and it doesn't have, this could be where you're looking at on just free sources on YouTube. The internet is boundless with information. I mean, granted, yes, you have to do some cross-referencing, making sure that sources, source check. Making sure what we're doing, discernment, what resonates with you, what doesn't. Ask lots of questions. We're in this very inquisitive time right now. But you can look at just for free stuff. If you're wanting to invest in things, there are totally a bunch of platforms. I found gold on Udemy, and I happen to catch. I remember I caught something on sale, and it's like I could get like all these courses for like a flat rate. It was really wild. I got like 4 or 5 courses. It was it's like maybe under $100 or something like that. Gold, and so there's so much stuff, but that's just if you want to. However you want to invest in this stuff there, Cancer. But I just feel with the King of Swords, there's something here like if you don't know something, there are other resources out there for you. The Seven of Swords is finding alternative ways to even find those resources. Maybe you can't afford some of the, we got people doing like expensive retreats and things like that. You can tap into Sagittarius energies by just going through reading, just in experiencing, listen to other people talk about these experiences and see what resources you have within your means, Cancer. The Empress is resourceful, but and there's our lovely guardian there, the other Cancer, all this feminine energy. Last little bit here, Cancer. You have the Knight of Coins and the 10 of Cups in reverse. And then you have the 9 of Coins and our lovely ruler, the High Priestess up right here, the Moon, Cancer. Let's switch back over. Because the High Priestess. I love how she's cuddled up here with a nice book under the waxing crescent, Cancer. Oh no, she's under a waning crescent. That's fine. we're that'd have been wild. But she's under a crescent moon regardless. But I see her cuddled up with this book, tuning into her magical gifts. And understanding how to put that into use. The 9 of Coins is, look at them investing in themselves, and taking the seeds from their investment and sowing more, but also enjoying what they've sown. And so I feel here, Cancer, if you have, there's something here as far as if you have some sort of dream that you're wanting to maybe look back into, or just some sort of way that you can express more of your innate gifts, make more time. I have a big musical background, and when I find time, I try to do it and I don't even try to do it. At first I was doing it once a week, but now I just do it when I just feel inspired. I remember I was humming something just the other day, and I've been writing this little piece. They've just been coming together as it comes together, and I just got a whole bunch of lyrics that came through. It just sort of just kind of flowed, like a whole verse was covered. I was just like, huh. And so yeah, I just kind of wrote that stuff as it came by. And that's been a way for me to keep the music alive in my world, so that it's still a big part, and that actually plays to my vision board really nicely. So there's a way to work with this stuff, Cancer, but I feel that if there's certain things that you're feeling with the High Priestess, certain things that are trying to move you a certain type of way to explore something. The Knight of Coins is saying, it's giving me this coming with a loose plan. Maybe make it where, maybe this could start with just like a vision board. Or this is like, maybe you're like, if you want to make more time for just like feeling less stressed, like putting up something on like your mirror, like, hey, breathe. And it's just like, oh, right. Okay. It does, I feel like it's like, and then like as you start to play around with different things, I feel like a plan is starting to form here with the Knight of Coins. Something's starting to come together. Something will start to be more grounded. But I do feel the 9 of Coins too. That's work. That's your pre-Empress energy. That's Venus and Virgo, and this is building a craft here that that can be that could be something that can not just benefit you, but could benefit others as well. You could be this, look at this watermelon farmer. I mean, he's not going to be able to eat all these. He's going to have to maybe share some, and maybe someone else has something else they can trade with that to share in their abundance. And now look, we're being really in Empress energy and spreading the gifts around and being in this Aquarius energy, this understanding how this, our unique magical gifts can further this collective journey and all this beautiful stuff here, Cancer. So I'm with it. I think I'm going to leave that there. So if that resonated with you, Cancer, which I hope so, tapping into this magical power, this gift, seeing the beautifulness that is you. You know, give this us what I want you to do, Cancer. Give it a thumbs up and share this thing, Cancer, because I think that's something too that we can all benefit from. Really, just being in our gifts more, figuring out to how to be, have the courage to be in that gifts, to lead with our heart and not care what other people think about that. You know. Because it's like ultimately we're leading with love, you know, we're leading with this place of wanting to heal something here. I feel with the star card being here. So absolutely, Cancer, if you know someone who may benefit from this, share this. And subscribe there, High Priestess. Hit that bell button and get notified on all these videos each day. And then last little bit there, Cancer, if you want to know what's going on in the astrological weather and want a bit something outside of the lunar shenanigans, come over to my other channel, Alchemist 8, where I do weekly videos talking about the different transits, go a little bit more in depth with them, how we can work with those energies, how this may show up in your chart. And all that housekeeping is down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here, Cancer, so I can get you out of here. Got the Page of Coins in reverse here, Cancer. And with the Page of Coins being here, this just gives me that there's, it's almost like, when was the last time that you did something exciting for yourself, that you just kind of started something up here, kind of just let an idea, just kind of rolled with an idea to let your imagination just kind of see what happens here, Cancer. Like, you know, maybe you know that you're great with poetry, for example. Maybe this is you creating some sort of website or some sort of blog where you're just posting stuff for whenever you feel like posting things. Or maybe you have, maybe you got a gift with animals. Maybe you want to make some time to do some volunteering at a zoo or something, or maybe at a shelter, or there's just something here about looking at things, areas where you're just kind of naturals at. I feel like looking to your, if you understanding your Chiron wound can be a great place for that. I feel that, yeah, there's something here, Cancer, that's, I feel like that's trying that's trying to start up. That's something that we're wanting you to look into in this, because this lunar cycle is one of curiosity, you know, of like where you can learn more about yourself, where you can grow. I'm making more just like kind of energetics. And let me get your oracle card here. I've been personally just been, the theme that has been, oh, interesting. The theme that has been, for me, think of yourself, has been just more of a focusing on how I'm working with myself energetically, getting enough rest, you know, being aware of allowing that first, like the theme has been like, I'm taking the first hour when I wake up to not, you know, get on my phone or do any technology, just kind of get some stuff started. I'm getting a lot more laundry done. I'm getting a lot more just staying on top of more things. Just been doing some like cleaning, the daily routines. I'm getting a lot more reading done that I would like. It's been, and I do that. I've been just adding on an hour before I go to bed now, has been where that's kind of free too. And that's been really kind of nice. My sleep has been really peaceful, I would say. But just kind of pay attention. That's what I feel like there's something I feel like this specific lunar cycle is just, there's something innately coming up in us here to pay attention to be perceptive of. But you got the full moon in Aquarius card here, Cancer, which is a card of be real. And I really love that with Aquarius, because it's just like, I feel there's something here about being real to who you are, Cancer. You know, Aquarius is about when we're true to ourselves, that's better for everybody else. When we're doing what everyone else is doing, then we all just stay in a loop. You know, there's no kind of innovation that's going on here. And so it's one thing I feel, there are numerous artists out there, but I may not resonate with every artist out there. That I have those that I resonate with. You could be one of them, Cancer, but I won't know that if you're thinking, like, for example, you're like, pay attention. Just think with that Seven of Wands. The lies that we may tell ourselves, that maybe that maybe your gift isn't special, or that, everyone else is doing this, so how can I possibly? And it's these are lies and programs that have been telling us, we're not meant to do it like other people. We're meant to do, we're meant to do it like the unique empress that you are, Cancer. So be real with what you're bringing, with how special you are, because you got it. And if you're not sure what that's looking like, I feel this Hermit, this is reflecting on that, finding out who you are, asking yourself these questions. What am I passionate about? And this is a perfect thing to ask when we're in Leo. What lights my heart up? This is getting out of the mind. Leo is one that, again, leads with think what just elevates your soul, what just raises your vibration through the roof there, Cancer. So I like that, Cancer. I think I'm going to leave that there. So stay mindful out there, Cancer. Stay grounded. And I feel one way too to maybe tap into your gifts, Cancer, to get present with that. Get outside, Cancer. Get grounded. I have a grounding mat here when I'm not able to get outside like first thing, or able to get my feet on like actual ground. That's something like it's just I had watched this video. I'm a big person that I'm big. I'll invest in my health in a heartbeat. I got some outer planets in the sixth house stuff and my north node there, but yeah, just stay grounded, Cancer. That can help you, especially if you're feeling a lot of emotions come up, you're not sure, and when we're doing that inner child work, that can bring up a lot. And so if you find yourself with overwhelm, sometimes that just getting outside and just getting grounded, getting connected with the body again, can do just really great wonders. I've been enjoying too, just as another example, I used to just stretch just for just staying limber. That was usually, I didn't really, because people would talk about like, oh, is this really meditative for you? And I was just like, honestly, like I never cared about that. It was more so literally just I just didn't want the body to get stiff. But I've been tuning in more so during my stretching and just listening to like, just where the body has been holding tension and how that feels and what that may bring up and what I may be working through. And it's like, and so it has been fascinating to ask those questions like, what's going on here? What you been carrying here, buddy? Why is this going on there? So that's another thing to think about to help stay grounded. But stay present, Cancer. Keep eyes on the moon. Whenever she's smiling in the sky now, so if you have a view where you can see her, absolutely maybe do some, where the High Priestess go, maybe do some light reading under the, you probably can't read anything with the moon being, you know what I mean, Cancer. And I will catch you on the next one. When am I going to catch you, Cancer? Mars Day.